Now, I normally don't like making videos about the same team in such a short span, but the Toronto Maple Leafs, what y'all did in Game 7 was so spectacular, I'm making 2 Toronto videos in less than a week. The Toronto Maple Leafs core 4, and you know what, we might as well just call it the core 5 and include Morgan Rielly, because Morgan Rielly's been here for the start, so you might as well just say he's a part of the core. So Toronto's core 5 has been so much of a failure. Y'all have made it out of the first round twice. Twice in a 9-year period, you guys have made it out of the first round. And what makes it significantly worse is every season with the core 4, it's our year. Every year is our year. The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to win every season. They've been the Stanley Cup favorite for the past 5 years in a row because they have Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, John Tavares, and Morgan Rielly. It's our year. It's always our year. And you've never even made it to the conference finals. Y'all completely folded against the Florida Panthers. You didn't even put up the slightest fight in Game 7. If you lost a hard-fought Game 7, you know what? It is what it is. But it wasn't a hard-fought Game 7. Y'all did absolutely nothing. Y'all just handed Florida the victory and said, you know what? We don't feel like playing today. But what if we could go back in time and rebuild the Toronto Maple Leafs? And what if we could go back in time and prevent this core 4 from happening? Well, that's what we're going to do in today's video. We're going to go back in time and rebuild the Toronto Maple Leafs on 4 different NHL games. And after we rebuild those teams, we're going to bring those teams to NHL 25 and we're going to see if we can win a Stanley Cup. But we're not just rebuilding 4 different Toronto Maple Leafs teams. No, once we're done rebuilding those 4 teams, we're going to NHL 25 and I'm going to give this team another chance. I'm going to rebuild the NHL 25 Toronto Maple Leafs and I'm going to see if I can get 1 Stanley Cup with this team. But you know what? We can't get ahead of ourselves here. We have to head back to NHL 17 because that's going to be our first NHL game because that's where Austin Matthews made his debut. We're going all the way back to the beginning of the core 4, which is NHL 17, and we're going to blow it up before it even started. So here we are back on NHL 17, the game where Austin Matthews made his NHL debut. You're going to see Mitch Marner on this team. You're going to see William Nylander on this team. We are going to be trading 90% of this team. We know how the future unfolds. We know who's going to win Stanley Cups. We know who's going to turn to superstar players, and we're going to bring those players onto our team. Freddie Anderson, we actually might not trade you. I might want to keep you on this team because I think Freddie Anderson would be a good goaltender in NHL 25, but that's beside the point. We are going to rebuild the Toronto Maple Leafs right here. We know how the future unfolds. We know that the Toronto Maple Leafs don't see any success basically over the next decade. It's not quite a decade. I think it's 9 years, but that's neither here nor there. The Toronto Maple Leafs never do anything significant until now. We're making the trades that we have to. We know what we have to do in order to win, and that's get rid of the core 4 before the core 4 is even formed. So Austin Matthews, you have a lot of trade value. Morgan Rielly, you have a lot of trade value. Let's go get some superstars. All right, so here's trade number 1. We're not really getting too many great players in this deal. We're getting this guy named David Pastrnak. Not too sure if he's any good. We're also getting this guy Brandon Carlo. I doubt he's going to turn into anything. Certainly not going to be a stick on the ice legend in the future. But yeah, this is the package we're going to be offering over. It's going to be rejected. We'll throw a couple more pieces in this deal and I think we'll get it done. Like I can throw this unsigned prospect in the deal and I think that's going to be enough. The Boston Bruins are going to be accepting. So David Pastrnak and Brandon Carlo, welcome to this team. Hopefully you guys surpass your potential. So now that we've completed that very minuscule trade, let's go ahead and make another deal. But while we try to figure out what that deal is going to be, if you haven't already, of course, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 83K subs by the end of the month. And if you don't subscribe, we won't be able to do that. So hit the button down below right now. All right, I might be tweaking, but does Morgan Rielly have the same amount of trade value as Nathan MacKinnon? We're going to try to go 1 for 1 here. They're saying no. We might just have to throw a pick in this deal. A draft pick might be enough for us to get Nathan MacKinnon for Morgan Rielly. I mean, while we're at it, we might as well just double check because they do have this guy named Mikko Rantanen, and Mikko Rantanen could be a good player for us as long as he develops in the future, and we just never know with a lot of these guys. Like, none of these guys might develop. Komarov, I guess I can throw you into this deal. We're getting Nathan MacKinnon and Mikko Rantanen. I think we're getting fleeced here. Yep, I don't think we should give it that second round pick. Let's try without the second rounder. If we don't put the second rounder, can we get this deal done? They're saying no to that. How about a third round pick? Like, we have to be careful here. I don't want to get fleeced. Nathan MacKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, welcome to the team. Hopefully you guys are good players in the future. Now I can confidently say that in NHL 17 we're going to be building the best team because there's so many players who are going to have crazy development over the years that just don't have a lot of trade value right now. Because I want you guys to comprehend this trade we're about to make. It's going to be Zaitsev and then maybe a third round pick. So do Zaitsev and a third round pick. What could we possibly get for that? Leon Draisaitl, and we actually might not need the third round pick. We're going to need the third round pick, but Leon Draisaitl is going to be joining the team here. I think we haven't really comprehended what I'm doing. Zaitsev and a 3rd round pick for Leon Draisaitl. This seems like a sweet proposal on our end. Boy, you have no clue what you just agreed to. So let's just keep on making moves here, and Jared McCann, Jonathan Marchessault are going to be the next 2 pieces that join the team. I also just remembered we do have Zach Hyman on the team. So if we want to hold on to Zach Hyman, we can actually bring him back to the Toronto Maple Leafs. That could be the move. No, but with all the amazing additions we made so far, maybe we should go after a couple defensemen. Alright, so you know what? We're actually going to go back to the Edmonton Oilers here. Connor McDavid. Let's have a discussion here. I think we can realistically pull off a deal for Connor McDavid. They're saying no to that. I'll give you a 1st round pick. Like, there's no such thing as giving up too much to get Connor McDavid on the team here. 1 2nd round pick's not enough. I'll do 2 2nd rounders. Like, if we have to give up a 1st round pick, I'm not against giving up a 1st round pick. And I think that's what we're going to have to do here. Austin Matthews, Jake Gardiner, and Toronto's 2017 1st round pick. Is that enough for McDavid? They're saying no. I'll give you 2 2nd rounders. I would like to only have to do 1 1st round pick in this deal. I don't want to do 2 firsts. Connor McDavid, we have acquired you. Yeah, we're building a super team here. We didn't have to give up multiple 1st round picks. We still have 1 to work with. All we really have to do here is build an elite defense. Now, Winnipeg, I'm okay if you finesse me here. I'll give you Gaucher. You give me Josh Morrissey. Like, you're coming out ahead in this deal. I certainly gave you a player with more trade value, but you gave me Josh Morrissey. So take that as you will. So we're just going to keep on making some small deals here. Brady Shea and Buchnevich are going to be the next 2 players joining the team. The Rangers are going to be saying no to that offer right there, but a couple draft picks will make the difference. So here's 2 4th rounders. I actually take that back. These 4th rounders probably won't make the difference because they have no value whatsoever. I'll give you an unsigned rookie. Like, we have a couple unsigned rookies on the team, and a few of them have actually a decent amount of value. I'll give you this rookie right here, and then I'll actually take this defenseman out of the deal because I think we might be able to get this done. If the Rangers say no, I'll throw that defenseman back in the deal, but they're not saying no. So Brady Shea and Buchnevich, welcome to the team. Now at this point, I don't even care about getting finessed. Mitch Marner, I guess you're going to be joining the New York Islanders here. Ryan Pollock, Adam Pelech, both of you guys are going to be joining the team. That's a big time upgrade to our defense. Like, Toronto's team in the future is going to be looking elite. Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, David Pastrnak, Buchnevich, Leon Draisaitl, Mikko Rantanen. Those are players you can build around. And then looking at the defense, Ryan Pollock, Brady Shea, Brandon Carlo. We have Josh Morrissey. We have Adam Pelech. We have pieces here, that's for sure. So let's just keep on making some small deals here. William Nylander, welcome to the Montreal Canadiens. Sergachev and Danault, welcome to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Just give me somebody that has no value whatsoever. I'll take on this AHL player, and this deal is going to be great. So Sergachev and Danault, you're going to play some valuable minutes for our team. So we're going to keep on making small moves here. Now it's time for JVR to join the Carolina Hurricanes. We're getting Sebastian Aho and Teuvo Teravainen, and Carolina's going to be rejecting that deal, but you know what? We got lucrative 7th round picks. I'm going to throw 2 lucrative 7th round picks in this deal, and Carolina's going to be accepting. We fleece them. But maybe not, because they got 2 lucrative 7th round picks. And that means something. Alright, now I might be cooking here. If we go based off trade value, we should trade for Eric Comrie. But I have a feeling this guy Connor Hellebuyck, who has less trade value than Eric Comrie, is going to be a good goaltender in the future. So we're going to trade for him. We're also going to go talk to the Winnipeg Jets about another player. He's a young player on the team, probably won't turn into too much. Kyle Connor. I'll give you Nazem Kadri. Now they're saying no to that. I think it's pretty fair. Like, trade value wise, we're not offering nearly enough here. I'll give you this AHL player that has a lot of trade value. They're willing to say yes to this, but we might be able to steal something else away. Winnipeg, what else do you have on your team that I would be interested in? Not really too much. I'm going to be completely honest. There's not a lot jumping out at me here. But maybe, just maybe, you can give me this 2nd round pick, and you can also give me Connor Hellebuyck and Kyle Connor at the same time. So we went ahead and traveled back in time, and this is the Toronto Maple Leafs team that we constructed. Connor McDavid, David Pastrnak, Teuvo Teravainen on the top line, Mikko Rantanen, Nathan McKinnon, Jonathan Marchessault on the second, Buchnevich, Draisaitl, Aho, Kyle Connor, Philip Danault, Jared McCann. I would say this is a pretty good team, but let's take a quick look at our defense. Brady Shea, Brandon Carlo, Ryan Pollock, Josh Morrissey, Sergachev, Adam Pelech. And then when it comes to goaltending, we have Freddie Anderson and we have Connor Hellebuyck. Now I would hope that this team can win a Stanley Cup once we take them to NHL 25, but it's also the Toronto Maple Leafs, so I wouldn't really be that surprised if we lost in the first round. Now Toronto, look what you could have built. This is a team that you could have built if there was no salary cap whatsoever and teams were really stupid and you knew the future. This is what the Toronto Maple Leafs roster could have looked like. I constructed a god squad for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and why do I feel like this team's going to lose in the first round? We're going to win like 70 plus games this season, and losing the first round is almost guaranteed. We know the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to completely collapse on us. The question isn't when are they going to collapse. It's how are they going to collapse, because we know it's going to happen. Now, it's going to be really funny when the Toronto Maple Leafs somehow lose in the first round. We finished first with a 69-9-4 record. We almost had 70 wins here. Connor McDavid had 127 points. Dave Pastrnak had 122. Kyle Connor 116. Nathan McKinnon 113. Leon Draisaitl 102. So we had 5 100-point scorers. Then we had Mikko Rantanen 82 points. So 6 players who were averaging a point a game, and then Josh Morrissey was 1 point shy of a point a game, and Sebastian Aho was 3 points shy. We almost had 8 point a game scores on this team. Connor Hellebuyck, a 62-8-3 record, 5 shots, a 922 and a 225. This first round collapse is going to be something for the history books here. We're taking on the New York Rangers in the first round. I just can't wait for this collapse to happen. We all know it's going to happen. Like, I don't care how good this team looks. I don't care if they won borderline 70 games. They will collapse at some point. We allowed 3 goals in the first 4 games. Maybe our team actually is good enough. Like, on paper, we're certainly the best team in the entire league. But we have to remember, this is the Toronto Maple Leafs we're talking about. We have a 3-1 series lead on the Florida Panthers. We're probably taking them down 5 games. Hold on now. Is Florida going to take us down? Are they going to make a 3-1 series comeback and take down the Toronto Maple Leafs? The 69-win Toronto Maple Leafs. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up here. They had a 3-0 lead at one point. The third period's coming up here. Can Toronto make the comeback? Yes, they can. They scored 4 goals. They got so lucky. I thought Florida was going to take us down. We beat them in Game 7. Nah, this team was really 1 game away from choking it all away. They were 1 game away from blowing a 3-1 series lead. We're moving on to the New Jersey Devils. We're probably going to take the Devils down. We're in the Stanley Cup final. Are we really surprised a borderline 70-win team is about to win the Stanley Cup here? Absolutely not. The only thing they have to do is take down NHL 25 Thatcher Demko. They have a 3-1 series lead, and just like that, the Toronto Maple Leafs are Stanley Cup champions if they win game number 6, which they will 7-3. So Toronto, I won you a Stanley Cup. All you have to do is go back in time 10 years. But you know what? This was a little unfair. I built an absolute super team here. Like, just look at this team. Connor McDavid, 31 points. Leon Draisaitl, 27. Nathan McKinnon, 27. David Pastrnak, 24. Sebastian Aho, 23. Like, look at all the point of game scores. Like, realistically, this was a super team. There was nobody stopping this team. However, what if I told you that all these players that you see on this team right here can't return for our next game? We're moving on to NHL 19, and in NHL 19, we can't bring McDavid to the team. We can't bring Draisaitl. We can't bring Nathan McKinnon. We can't bring Dave Pastrnak. So moving forward, there is no way we build a better team than this. But I'm still going to build a super team, and we're still going to win Stanley Cups with the Toronto Maple Leafs. So the rebuild in NHL 17 was pretty successful. The team that we had in NHL 17 was able to win a Stanley Cup in NHL 25. Let's see if we can do the same thing in NHL 19. Now we moved on to NHL 19. John Tavares' first season with the team. William Nylander's still really young. Mitch Marner's really young. Austin Matthews is really young. Even Zach Hyman's still fairly young, only 26 years old. Like, they have a great young core here. Clearly things aren't going to be a complete dumpster fire once you get to the year 2025, and this team has only made it out of the first round once. Clearly that's not going to happen. Maybe they've made it to the Stanley Cup final once and that's it, but this team right here has a lot of potential. They're not going to be complete frauds in 10 years. Yeah, here we are. So we're rebuilding the Toronto Maple Leafs in NHL 19. Let's go ahead and prevent what happened in 2025. And as I mentioned in my last simulation where we did see the Toronto Maple Leafs win a Stanley Cup, we can't trade for any of those players that we trade for in NHL 17. So Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, you guys are off the table. Jesse Puljujarvi, on the other hand, we can make a move. We could do Austin Matthews straight up for Puljujarvi. That would be a move. Not a good move, but it would be a move. Now imagine if this trade actually happened. Morgan Rielly for Cale Makar and a 2nd round pick. Colorado saying no to it. We're just going to go 1-for-1. I'm actually surprised 1-for-1 isn't enough just based off trade value. Like, we're offering them more trade value than what we're getting here. Then again, it is Cale Makar, and we have to understand that. I'll throw a 3rd round pick in the deal. They're saying no to that, but they just want the lucrative 7th round pick. So it's going to be Morgan Rielly, a 3rd round pick, and a lucrative 7th round pick with another lucrative 7th round pick for Cale Makar. we are bringing Cale Makar to the team for Morgan Riley. After we give them another super lucrative 3rd round pick, because apparently 2 7th rounders were enough, Cale Makar, welcome to the team. That's a move. That's certainly a move. That's probably one of the biggest trades we're going to see today. Now, Liljegren, you have elite potential here, and you have quite a bit of trade value for having elite potential. Like, it's a bit ridiculous. You have the 6th highest trade value on the team right now. That's kind of absurd. But you know it's even more absurd? Getting Rupe Hintz, Nichushkin, and Jason Robertson along with 2 2nd-round picks for that package right there. Realistically, with the team I'm constructing in all of these games, there is no reason why Toronto can't win multiple Stanley Cups. Then again, it's the Toronto Maple Leafs, so I shouldn't get ahead of myself here. Now, I think this is going to be a great deal. Johnny T, Hutchinson, and Carl Cohen sent over to the Florida Panthers. We bring in Vincent Trocheck. He'll be a good bottom 6 piece in NHL 25. Michael Matheson, he'll probably end up being a 3rd pairing defenseman because of how good our defense is going to be. Mackenzie Weegar, probably a 2nd pairing defenseman. And then Montebolt, he'll be the backup. We're getting all of this right here for Johnny T. I like that trade quite a bit. Florida was also one of the very few teams that had a significant amount of cap space, so we could actually trade Jonathan Taves. Like, the other guy's going to be very difficult to trade away here. William Nylander, $10.2 million. There's not a lot of teams that can take that on. One team that can take it on is the Minnesota Wild. And do they have Kaprizov yet? Not quite yet. Now, I was talking about how William Nylander would be a bit difficult to trade away because of the cap hit, but we found a team that can take him on. We're going to send him to Nashville for Philip Forsberg, UC Saros, and Arvidsson. Arvidsson, more than likely, you're going to be flipped elsewhere. But as long as we can get Philip Forsberg and UC Saros, will be happy. They're going to be rejecting that last deal, but we have picks we can work with. Like, we got a couple 2nd rounders from the Dallas Stars. I'll throw both of them in this deal, and I think that should be enough here. They're saying it's a little bit low. I'll give you 1st rounders then. Here's a 1st round pick for 2019. I think that'll be enough, and it looks like it is. Philip Forsberg and UC Saros, welcome to the team. Now, let the fleecing continue. Arvidsson, Zaitsev, and P10 are going to be sent over to the Islanders. Noah Dobson, Brock Nelson, and Devon Taves are all acquired here. So that's 2 amazing defensemen and a great forward who's going to play some valuable minutes on this team. So this is what the Austin Matthews trade is going to look like. It's going to be Matthews and Jake Gardner sent over to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Kucherov and JT Miller both going to be acquired here. I'm assuming we have to throw in a couple 1st round picks. I don't see how we would get this deal done without throwing 1st rounders in the deal. So here's a 2020 1st round pick, and it looks like that's going to be enough. Nikita Kucherov and JT Miller, welcome to the team. Now, we're going to keep on making moves here. Jake Muzzin and Nazem Kadri are now going to be sent over to Vegas. Shea Theodore and Alex Tucker are both going to be brought to the team. We have to throw a 2nd round pick in the deal, but that's perfectly fine because we have a handful of 2nd rounders. So here's 1 2nd rounder that we got from Dallas. And you know what? We actually might not need multiple 2nds in this deal. What if I just give you a 2nd that you're actually interested in? Is that enough for you to accept this? It doesn't look like it. I'll do a 2nd and 3rd round pick. I take that back. It won't be a 3rd rounder. It's going to be a 4th rounder because we don't have any 3rds. You know what? I'll just give you 2 2nd rounders from Dallas. Let's keep this deal as simple as possible. So this is what the Mitch Marner deal is going to look like. It's Marner sent over to the Penguins. We're getting Jake Getzel and 2 1st round picks. Can I please get some draft compensation? We're going to get fleeced in this deal. We have to offer them a package like this just so we can ditch Mitch Marner. This is stupid. We shouldn't have had to do Mitch Marner straight for Jake Getzel, but apparently nobody wants to re-sign Mitch Marner. That doesn't really make too much sense to me. Now, we don't have to make too many more trades here, but Sam Bennett's going to be the next player acquired. Rasmus Sandin and a 2nd round pick is going to be sent over. Calgary's accepting that one immediately. Now, I believe this is going to be our final trade. It's going to be Freddie Anderson and 2 young players over to the San Jose Sharks. Tomas Hertl and Timo Meier are both going to be acquired here. 2 good forwards that are going to play some big time minutes for us. With that deal completed, we're ready to go win a Stanley Cup. So here's the new look Toronto Maple Leafs. Philip Forsberg, Jake Getzel, Nikita Kucherov on the top line. Timo Meier, Tomas Hertl, and Alex Tuck on the 2nd. JT Miller, Trocheck, Brock Nelson, Nichushkin, Rupe Hintz, Sam Bennett. They're going to be holding it down the bottom 6. Looking at the defense, Shea Theodore, Michael Matheson, Cale Makar, Devon Taves, Noah Dobson, Mackenzie Weegar, and then in between the pipes, we got UC Saros and Montebolt sharing the net together. Now in NHL 19, this team is clearly not going to do anything. They're going to finish dead last in the entire league. This just isn't that great of a team. In NHL 25 though, we're going to be the best team in the entire league and we're winning 65 plus games. So here we go. JT Miller, Kucherov, Jason Robertson, Philip Forsberg, Rupe Hintz, Jake Getzel. That's a pretty good top 6 to work with. Then you look at the bottom 6. This bottom 6 would probably be a top 6 on a majority of teams. Then you got the defense. Devon Taves and Cale Makar, of course, they have to play together. Noah Dobson, Shea Theodore, Michael Matheson, Mackenzie Weegar. We have pieces here for sure. We certainly have a great defense. defense, and if we have a good defense in front of this man, we're certainly going to be all right. UC Saros is our starter. Montebolt's the backup. Toronto's looking to go 2 for 2 here. So once again, the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to win the President's Trophy, first in the entire league, a 57-21-4 record. We're clearly not the same team we were when we won a Stanley Cup the first time, but I still think we're a good team here. Nikita Kucherov 106 points, JT Miller 95, Jason Robinson 83. We only had 3 point-a-game scorers. I believe when we won a Stanley Cup, we had 5 100-point scorers. Yeah, this team is very, very different, but it's not like we're a bad team by any means. We still have a lot of great pieces here. We have amazing depth from top to bottom. We're taking on the Carolina Hurricanes in the first round, potentially the Florida Panthers in the second. Toronto's going to have their hands full here. Now, the Maple Leafs have their hands full in their first round matchup against the Carolina Hurricanes. Dropping game number 1 is not ideal. We split the series with Carolina. We can't afford to drop game number 5 here. If we lose game 5, we're likely losing the series. It would only make sense for our new Toronto Maple Leafs team to lose in the first round. It's honestly fitting. But you know what? We're not the Toronto Maple Leafs, but we might be. We'll find out after this series. Forsberg and Shea Theodore picking up goals in the first period. Moving into the second, Jack Roslovic's picking up a goal. I want to point out the Carolina Hurricanes would be a wildcard team in this simulation, and the wildcard team has taken us down. That's crazy. Like, we were the President's Trophy winners. We played a wildcard team in the first round. I need to know what their record was. I'm assuming the Carolina Hurricanes had a pretty good record. Like, they're the Carolina Hurricanes. They have a lot of great pieces on the team. They clearly can't be that bad. 16th in the entire league, a 41-36-5 record. They were scoring less than 3 goals per game. How many goals a game were we scoring? 3.71. I think they had one of the worst offenses in the league. Yeah, they were in the bottom half. We lost to them in the first round. We didn't score at all in that series. Like, Jason Robertson led the way with 4 points. Our team didn't do anything. Every player on this team completely disappeared when it mattered most. UC Saros, half of your wins came from shutouts. You had 2 wins, 1 shutout, a 909, a 253. I feel like these numbers right here are good enough to get you out of the first round, but apparently not. We're falling to the Carolina Hurricanes. I don't even care who wins the Stanley Cup here. It's time for us to move on to NHL 19 and rebuild the Leafs again, but each rebuild is going to get even more difficult. We now have another list of players we can't add to the team. Oh yeah, in case you were wondering what the Stanley Cup final was, it was the Anaheim Ducks taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. A very realistic Stanley Cup final. No, what am I looking at here? No, I think I might have said we're moving on to NHL 19, even though we were just on NHL 19. We're moving on from NHL 19. We're on NHL 21. Austin Matthews is now up to a 91 overall. He doesn't have franchise potential yet. Mitch Marner, 91 overall. William Nylander's an 86 overall. Johnny T's an 89 overall. The core 4 is still together for about 3 more seconds because we are trading the entire core 4 once again. The defense is going to be completely rebuilt. When it comes to goaltending, I low-key want to run Freddie Anderson at least once. I think we'll actually keep Freddie Anderson in this game because, yeah, why not? Like, Freddie Anderson's still a good goaltender in NHL 25. He hasn't done anyone wrong. Shout out to Freddie Anderson. We're keeping him around. Everyone else, though, is being traded, like, without hesitation. Now, Toronto Maple Leaf fans certainly don't want to betrayed William Nylander away, but if you were to get Sam Reinhart, Linus Ullmark, and Tage Thompson, I don't think they would be against it, and that's what we're doing. So yeah, Tage Thompson, Linus Ullmark, Sam Reinhart, welcome to the Toronto Maple Leafs. So we're going to keep on pulling off the big trades, and now it's Austin Matthews over to the LA Kings. Velarde, Kempe, Mikey Anderson, Sean Dursey, all of you guys are going to be joining our team. It's a no-brainer for LA. Well, I mean, considering how good all of those guys are going to turn out in the future, I wouldn't say it's a no-brainer. So it was only a matter of time before I went after Kaprizov, but not only are we going after Kaprizov, Joel Eriksson, Marco Rossi, Kevin Fiala, we are just combining the LA Kings and the Minnesota Wild. That's basically all we're doing here. They're saying no to that package. We're either giving up a first rounder or a second rounder. I hope a second round pick's enough here. They're saying no. We're throwing in the incredibly lucrative first round pick that has so much value it's a bit ridiculous, and that's going to be what gets this deal done. Now, Mitch Marner, it's time to say goodbye to the Toronto Maple Leafs yet again. We're going to be sending you over to the New Jersey Devils. We're bringing in Jack Hughes and we're bringing in Jesper Bratt. So 2 amazing players. Our forward core is going to be unstoppable. We probably should work on the defense a little bit though. All right, now we just need a team that has a lot of cap space to take on Johnny T's contract. We're going to send him over to the Ottawa Senators for Brady Tkachuk. We'll throw draft picks in because they have so much value. Here's a 3rd round pick. If you don't accept this, I'll throw in a 2nd. Actually, we're just going to try multiple 3rds. Multiple 3rd round picks might be enough here, and I think it will be. There we go. Johnny T, hopefully you like Ottawa because we're bringing in Brady Tkachuk for you. But now it's time to get serious. The New York Rangers have Adam Fox. I don't recall how much trade value Adam Fox has at this point, but it's clearly not enough, so we're bringing him to the team. Okay, there's no way this gets accepted, but what if it does? 1 for 1 here. I was kind of hoping we would get Adam Fox. We're not going to be able to. I could throw a second round pick in the deal that has a ridiculous amount of trade value. But how about I just give you all these picks right here that add up to a lot of trade value? That works. Adam Fox, welcome to the team. So we have to acquire a couple more defensemen. We might as well go to the St. Louis Blues. They've had a ton of amazing players over the year. Vince Dunn and Colton Parayko are both going to be joining the team. We're giving up Morgan Riley and we're giving up Zach Hyman. Now, I think this will likely be our final move, but it's going to be Jake Muzzin, Nick Robertson, and another prospect sent over to the Ducks. Hampus Lindholm and Ricardo Kell, welcome to the team. You know what? If you're not willing to accept that, I will give you this second round pick that has so much value. I could probably get another player for it, but I don't really care. I just want to get the deal done. So there we go. Another game is complete here. NHL 19. Our current cap hit is 57 million. In NHL 25, it's probably about 150 million. Now, this might have actually been the fastest it took me to build a team. Like, I did this in probably 10 minutes. But Sam Reinhart, Kaprizov, Ricardo Kell on the top line for now. We have Kevin Fiala, Joel Eriksson Ek, and Brady Tkachuk on the second line. When it comes to the bottom six, we got Kempe, Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Tage Thompson, Marco Rossi, Gabe Velarde. This is going to be a very young Toronto Maple Leafs team. Like, when we move this team to NHL 25, they're still going to be really young. Hampus Lindholm, Adam Fox, Colton Parayko, Vince Dunn, Mikey Anderson, Sean Dursey. And then when it comes to goaltending, I wouldn't really classify that as young. Freddie Anderson's going to be up there in age. Linus Ullmark's going to be in the 30s, but both of them are going to be really good goaltenders, and I think this team can win a Stanley Cup. And realistically, all we have to do is win 3 games in the first round, and we would have built a better team than our NHL 19 team. That's how bad our team was. We won 2 games against Carolina, even though we were the President's Trophy winners. And they only won 41 games all season. So yeah, we're complete and utter frauds, I guess. I take that statement back. We're not complete and utter frauds. The Toronto Maple Leafs are complete and utter frauds. Now, we made some big time moves in NHL 21. Jack Hughes, Tage Thompson, Kaprizov on the first line. Brady Tkachuk, Sam Reinhart, Jesper Bratt on the second line. The bottom 6 looks spectacular here. The lowest overall being an 85. When it comes to the defense, the lowest overall here is an 85. We have our number 1 defenseman, Adam Fox, who can certainly lead the way for us. We have a lot of great supporting pieces here. And then when it comes to goaltending, 288 overalls. I don't care who's the starter in the postseason, as long as they can win me some games. Now, for our 3rd straight season, NHL 25, we're winning the President's Trophy. We're 1-1 so far in winning the President's Trophy, but then again, the one time we did win a Stanley Cup, we did win 69 games, so it made sense that we won the Stanley Cup. 55 wins this season, 4.24 goals per game, 2.57 allowed, the best in both categories. Kirill Kaprizov's going to lead the way, no surprise there, 103 points. Jack Hughes 102, Reinhardt 101, so we had more 100-point scorers and we had more point-a-game scorers here, so I have a bit more confidence moving into the postseason. However, there is one thing that needs to be addressed. First round losses. We can't be losing in the first round. I don't care for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't care for the stick on the ice Maple Leafs. It doesn't matter. No first round losses here. We've already seen one. We're not seeing any more. So we'll take it 1 game at a time, 1 minute at a time here. All we have to do is win 4 games. So far we've won 3. Let's win 1 more and then we're going to be moving on to the second round and we're going to be avoiding a first round loss. Yeah, game number 5 wasn't ideal, but at least it's a win. Now we don't have to worry about a first round loss here. We were able to take down the Florida Panthers. Now we get the Tampa Bay Lightning. We're just going to continue to take on these Florida teams, but we're going to keep on beating them. But we shouldn't get too confident. At the end of the day, we are the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't care if I built the greatest team of all time. We are the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they will always find a way to lose when it matters. We have a 3-2 series lead. We're dropping game number 6. This is exactly what I mean. We could have a 3-0 series lead. We could have the greatest team of all time, and it wouldn't matter because we would still find a way to lose. We're exchanging goals in the first period. Hampus Lindholm's picking up a big one in the second. Can he pick up another big goal in the third period here? No, we can't, but Marco Rossi's picking up 2 power play goals, and we're moving on. So we get ourselves a rematch. In our second year, the Carolina Hurricanes took us down in the first round, but now we got a rematch in the conference finals, and Toronto's not folding here. But what am I saying? I can't be that confident with this Toronto Maple Leafs team. Like, at the end of the day, we are the Toronto Maple Leafs. Okay, we're in the Stanley Cup final. We swept them. We scored 9 goals in game number 3. We swept them. We played the Carolina Hurricanes in the conference finals. I shouldn't have been worried because that team chokes more than the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, they do, but they don't. But then again, they have lost 14 straight conference finals games, and that might be more impressive than what the Toronto Maple Leafs have done. We have a 3-2 series lead against the Vancouver Canucks. Can we close it out in game number 6? A 2-1 victory is going to be good enough here, and the Toronto Maple Leafs are Stanley Cup champions yet again. So we're 2 for 3 so far in teams we built, but we're not done yet. We still have to rebuild in NHL 23 and then in NHL 25 because I'm going to try to win a Stanley Cup with the current Toronto Maple Leafs core, even though we all know it's going to be impossible. NHL. Kirill Kaprizov, 20 wins, 19 assists for 39 points. Jack Hughes, 36 points. Tage Thompson, 25. Adam Fox, 22. We had a lot of scoring on this team, and I think scoring was honestly the difference. Because look at Linus Ullmark's numbers. Bro had a 312 goals against, but he still had a 16-6 record. So yeah, we just outscored all of our problems here. So we were pretty successful in our NHL 21 rebuild. Let's see if we can get the same success in NHL 23. So we've made to NHL 23, a game I've put way too many hours into. Like, I know way too much about this game, but I also know I can win this team a Stanley Cup. I've been able to do it twice so far in the past, and what's one more? Toronto, they got some decent pieces that we can trade away here. They're gonna have a couple rookies that we can trade away. So you know what? It was only a matter of time before we made a trade like this. Matthew Tkachuk, we're yet to bring you to the team until now. Matthew Tkachuk and Forsling are going to be joining. Apparently this isn't enough. I mean, it's not really that surprising, but what if I give you a couple draft picks? Like 2 third-rounders might be enough to get this one done. So I'm going to offer this package over to Florida. They're saying it's a little bit low. It's time for the lucrative 7th-round pick. We haven't seen the lucrative 7th-round pick too much in this video until now, and surprisingly, a lucrative 7th-round pick isn't enough. So how about a more lucrative 4th-round pick? No, do we have to really throw a prospect in this deal? It's kind of crazy. Like, who do we have in the CHL that has enough value? I don't think we have anyone. Hopefully this young player is going to be enough right here. Can we get Matthew Tkachuk? Okay, we have to throw a 2nd-round pick in the deal. If I'm giving you a 2nd-round pick, though, I'm not giving you that 3rd-rounder. So hopefully this deal is going to be enough right here. We really need to add more. Come on, man. This is getting a bit ridiculous. Here's a 7th-round pick. Please be enough. The lucrative 7th-rounder isn't enough. Do I have to give you a 3rd? I think we have to give you a 3rd. So we really have to do 2 3rd-round picks and a 2nd alongside Austin Matthews for Matthew Tkachuk and Forsling. And that's not enough. What could you possibly want? 2 2nd-rounders? You said you wanted a little bit more. A little bit more isn't 2 2nd-round picks. Y'all are bugging. 2 2nd-round picks and a 3rd-round pick. This isn't just a little bit more. But I really want Matthew Tkachuk, so I don't care. So I believe we made a couple deals with the Montreal Canadiens, but we haven't got these 4 players yet. Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, Caden Gooley, and Sean Monahan. All of them for Mitch Marner. That's a pretty good deal on our end, but apparently it's also a good deal on Montreal's end. Not really too sure about that one. Now, I actually think we might be giving up a little bit too much in this deal, but William Nylander, Jake McCabe, and Nick Robertson all sent over to Tampa Bay. We're bringing in Brandon Hagel. He's going to turn to like an 87. We're bringing in Cirelli. He turns into like an 86. We're bringing in Chernak. He's going to be like an 84, 85 overall defenseman. He can play some good minutes. But let's actually try to get a pick, because if we get a pick, we can still use that in a future trade. I think we can get the 2nd-round pick from Tampa, and it looks like it. So it's probably a good thing I asked for that pick, but we probably could have gotten more. But you know what? It's not the end of the world. We got what we were looking for. Now, considering what we brought to our team in season number 1, like we were bringing superstar and superstar. Now I'm bringing in guys like Pavel Dorofeia, because I feel like guys like Pavel Dorofeia would be able to turn the Toronto Maple Leafs around. They're great players like that. Oh yeah, we also got Jack Eichel in that deal, so I mean, that helps too. Now, moving forward, when it comes to bringing really good defensemen to the team, I think that's going to be the easiest part, because a guy like Jake Wallman has absolutely no trade value whatsoever. So we can give up like an 81 overall player, and then when we bring Jake Wallman to the team in NHL 25, he's like an 86, 87 overall. But what we're looking at here is Johnny T and Matthew Nyes for Dylan Larkin and Jake Wallman. More than likely we're giving up a couple picks here, but we do have picks to work with. So I can give you a 1st-round pick for 2023, and is that going to be enough? They're saying no. I'll give up multiple 1st-round picks if we have to. Like, I'm perfectly fine with giving up 2 1st-round picks in this deal. Dylan Larkin and Jake Wallman are definitely worth that. However, if you don't accept this right here, then more than likely we're just not doing this deal. And I guess that's what's going to be happening here. Or at least we're not going to be walking away with Dylan Larkin. I'll still do Matthew Nyes for Jake Wallman 1-for-1. Now, we've made a lot of great moves in this video, but this might be one of the best. Marchenko, Chinakhov, and Zach Werenski for John Tavares, Muzzin, and Liljegren. Yeah, I'm not going to pass up that deal. If I have to throw in a 1st-round pick, I'll throw in a 1st-round pick. I don't care, as long as we can walk away with those 3 players. We're a little bit off when it comes to trade value. Here's a 2nd-round pick from the Tampa Bay Lightning, and that's going to be the difference. Now, imagine this deal happening in real life. That would be wild. Gustafson and David Kampf for Wyatt Johnston and Thomas Harley. I don't care if we're giving up picks or not. This deal is well worth it. Wyatt Johnston and Thomas Harley are going to be difference makers for us. And you know what? We actually might do another deal with Dallas, because I think they still have Logan Stankoven on the team. Do they have Logan Stankoven here? They might not. Actually, yes, they do. Okay, we're picking up Logan Stankoven as well. I don't care what his overall is. We're going to be trading Connor Timmins for him. Connor Timmins for Logan Stankoven. They'd have too many players. We can still get this to happen. So how about I give you a CHL player, a 4th-rounder, and 2 5th-rounders for Logan Stankoven? Perfect. Now there's one more thing we have to do, and that's trade for a goaltender. So Samsonov straight up for Jeremy Swayman. NHL 23 Jeremy Swayman. If you know, you know. I brought him to the team way too many times. Now, I'm actually not sure if Logan Thompson will be our starter or our backup. I don't recall what overall he is, and I don't recall what overall Jeremy Swayman is. All I know is Bro's going to be coming to the team. We just have to go up a couple draft picks. What draft picks do we have left? Not many, but here's 2 6th-round picks. That's not enough. I'll give you a first rounder. There you go. A first-round pick for 2024. We don't need it. Now, I think this is actually one of the most interesting teams that we've built so far because there's a lot of young players here. Wyatt Johnston, Pavel Dorofeev, Marchenko, Chinikov, Sorelli, Sean Monahan. I mean, Sean Monahan's 27, so I wouldn't classify him as young. Barbashev's in this conversation. But over the next 2 years, all of these guys develop quite a bit. I mean, Sean Monahan basically just gets back into his prime, but Pavel Dorofeev gets up to like an 84, 85 overall. Wyatt Johnston's in that same class. Kirill Marchenko's going to be an 87. Chinikov's going to be like an 85. So all of those young players see a lot of progression. Same with Caden Gooley, same with Jake Wallman, same with Thomas Harley. In a 2-year span, they almost all jump up like 8 overalls. And then Jeremy Swayman and Logan Thompson, you guys are just going to keep on getting better, and you guys are going to be fighting for a starting spot in NHL 25. So let's go ahead and import this team in and see what we're working with. Now, this team in NHL 23 didn't look too hot, but here we are just 2 years later, and look at the crazy progression we've seen from all of these guys. Now we're looking at a Stanley Cup caliber team. I don't think there's really any weaknesses here, but I did make one critical mistake. I think I brought basically only left defensemen to the team. The only person that isn't a left defenseman is Chernak here. Jake Wallman technically plays left and right D, but yeah, I basically brought all left defensemen to the team, but who cares? We have 87 overall Logan Thompson, 86 overall Jeremy Swayman backing him up, so we have 2 goaltenders we can run, and I think Logan Thompson's going to be taking the reins here, and I think he's going to be our number 1. Now, it's sad to say, but I've fallen off as a GM. 4th in the entire league, a 53, 27, and 2 record. I'm not that guy anymore. Then again, maybe I still am that guy because we were technically tied for 1st in wins. We just didn't lose games in overtime. So that's not the end of the world here. Like, if you're losing games 3-on-3 or in shootout, who really cares about that? That doesn't translate into the postseason. Regulation wins is what translates into the postseason. Jack Eichel, 88 points. Matthew Tkachuk, 82. This might be the only team we built so far that doesn't have a 100-point scorer, but I don't care if you score 100 points or not. As long as you step up in the postseason and score goals and pick up points when it matters most, then we can be Stanley Cup champions. We have the New York Islanders in the first round, and I'm not losing to the Islanders. No disrespect towards the Islanders, but I'm just not losing to the Islanders here. We are losing to the Islanders. This is the Toronto Maple Leafs if I've ever seen them. We are going to lose to the New York Islanders unless we win 4 straight games here, which we are on pace to do. All you have to do is win game number 7. We won 4 straight games. We are not stopping. We have all the momentum in the world right now. Can we win 5 straight games? No, we cannot. We split the series with Florida. Win game number 5. That's a must win for us. We're dropping that one 7-1, but we're responding in game 6 because I know this team will respond when it matters most. The Toronto Maple Leafs showed up. In the first 3 games of the first round, this was the Toronto Maple Leafs. Then the stick on the ice Maple Leafs showed up, and they don't mess around. Then the Toronto Maple Leafs showed up in game number 1. Then the stick on the ice Maple Leafs showed up. Then it was Toronto, stick on the ice. Then Toronto and Toronto. So the Toronto Maple Leafs showed up in a couple of elimination games. Clearly that can't be the case here. We need the stick on the ice Maple Leafs to show up. Matthew Tkachuk's going to lead the way, 15 points in 13 games. Jack Eichel's getting 15 as well. Cole Caulfield led the way when it came to goal scoring. He's picking up 7 goals and 5 assists for 12 points. But this is heartbreaking right here. Like, this is incredibly heartbreaking. Not only did the team I construct, okay, Logan Thompson, I'm blaming you. You had an 888 and a 351. This is Logan Thompson's fault, not my fault. I will put all the blame on my goaltender who posted an 888 and a 351. But you know what? Things could be significantly worse. Because now it's time to rebuild the Toronto Maple Leafs in NHL 25, and we're going to try to win with the core 4. So that's going to be impossible. Now, out of all the rebuilds I've done so far, this is going to be by far the most difficult. Because Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, and Morgan Riley all have to be here. We have the core 5 that's going to be untouchable. So we have to find a way with the core 5 here, and all the no trades and all the no movements, to build a better team with the limited cap space we have and the limited picks we have. I don't really know how that's going to be a possibility here. Yeah, because we have like very little money to work with. We have $145,000 in cap space. You can't do too much with that, especially with all these guys having no movements and modified no trade clauses. Yeah, we'll see what we can pull off here. But Nick Robinson, you're going to be included in a trade. And then when it comes to trading picks away, we have 2nd and 3rd rounders that value, and that's about it. So Nick Robinson, hopefully we can find something that's like an 86 overall that has no value for some reason. Now hold on now. Will Cooley. Will Cooley doesn't have that much value, and he's an 86 overall with an X factor. So Nick Robertson, a second and third rounder sent over to the Rangers. Is that going to be enough? They're saying no. A couple 7th round picks might be enough to get this deal done. And then Will Cooley, you're going to play some top 6 minutes for us. See, Toronto? That's the type of deals y'all got to be cooking up. All right, so before I make this next trade, I just want to mention that rule that I'm not allowed to have the same player on multiple teams is now voided. That was just when I was rebuilding a team in NHL 17, bringing it to NHL 25, rebuilding a team in NHL 19, bringing it to NHL 25. Now that we're in NHL 25, I can trade for any player I want. So with that being said, can we pull off a deal for Alex Tuch here? We're a little bit off in value. We're getting Alex Tuch on this team. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip a couple assets over to the Boston Bruins. They would be over the salary cap. That's perfectly fine. Just give me somebody back. Or just give me a $2 million player like Morgan Geekie and we can get this deal done. I don't think we're going to be able to get both second rounders. Maybe if we give up a couple picks. Because Morgan Geekie actually might be a valuable player for us. We might not end up flipping Morgan Geekie. We might hold on to him. Actually, I could just take 1 second rounder out. We'll take 1 second rounder out of this deal. We'll throw in a 7th and a 5th or something. We're going to get this deal done. Not only are we going to add Morgan Geekie to the team, but we're also going to get Alex Tuch. So I'm going to give you 4 different draft picks on top of David Kampf, and you're going to give me Alex Tuch. I think we've actually made a handful of really good moves with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I don't think we can really make this team much better than we have. Like, just based on our defensive overalls here, I don't think we have enough assets to get anything great here. We really don't have that many draft picks left here. Like, I'm not trading 27 picks away. That's a bit OD. If we can bring in like an 80 overall defenseman, though, we might try to do something. Like, do you want to trade Jackson Lacombe? Because I'll take Jackson Lacombe for you if you're willing to do this deal. There we go. The Toronto Maple Leafs are ready to win because Stick on the Ice actually gave them a good team. Then again, me giving them a good team does absolutely nothing. We have to believe in the core 4. Now, with the trades that we made, our team's certainly in a better spot. A +4 boost on the top line, a +5 on the second. Our bottom 6 has a bit more depth here. The Toronto Maple Leafs are actually going to win a Stanley Cup. Just kidding. We all know this team's going to lose in the first round. It does not matter who's in net, who's on the forward core, who's on the defensive core. If you have the core 4, you're not seeing success. That's just a known fact. Now, although we have the core 4, we are second in the entire league, a 53-25-4 record. I'm not feeling confident. And why am I not feeling confident? Is it because Austin Matthews wasn't good this season? No, he was pretty good. Mitch Marner had 104 points. He was great. William Nylander did his thing. Will Cooley was great. John Tavares was great. So why am I worried? It's the Toronto Maple Leafs we're talking about. The core 4 in the postseason. That's why I'm worried. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. We're taking on the Florida Panthers in the first round. We all know how this is going to go. The writing's on the wall already. So we get the Florida Panthers in the first round. Of course we get the Florida Panthers in the first round. I am not surprised in the slightest. And I won't be surprised when we get swept here. Okay, we can't get swept, but we can still lose in 5 games. We're not winning 2 in a row. That's a known fact here. Florida's winning game 2. We're winning game number 3. And we won game 4. So we have a 3-1 series lead on the Florida Panthers. But that's not going to last because we have the core 4. We actually won. Okay, Toronto might be doing something here. We do have to remember, though, it's the Toronto Maple Leafs, and this team will always find a way to mess it up. Alright, so we might have gotten past the first round, but that doesn't mean anything because it's still the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they always find ways to screw things up. So we have Tampa in the second round. Y'all better be still locked in. You can't just be locked in for 1 round. You have to be locked in for 4. So our next task is the Tampa Bay Lightning, and Vasilevsky's been playing like an absolute god so far, so we could be in a little bit of trouble here. We're scoring 8 goals in game number 1. We can't fold. We have to win a Stanley Cup. We might even sweep Tampa Bay. We're not sweeping Tampa Bay, but all we have to do is win 1 more game in order to advance here, and we're going to blow a 3-0 series lead, aren't we? I'm not even jumping into game 7. We're simulating game 7 and seeing what happens. I can't believe we won that. We really just won that. We're in the conference finals. We have the Columbus Blue Jackets up next. Just keep on rolling. Keep on winning here. We have a chance of making it to the Stanley Cup final. Am I going to do the impossible and win with the core 4? I might do the impossible. We have the Winnipeg Jets in the Stanley Cup final. All we have to do is win 1 more series, and we might do that. We are down 3-1. We've lost 3 straight games. Of course, we're going to collapse in the Stanley Cup final. It only makes sense for this team to give us hope, get us all the way to the Stanley Cup final, and then completely forget how to play hockey and allow 8 million goals in the elimination games and go scoreless in the final 2 periods. Will Cooley and Matthew Knies picked up our goals. Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, William Nylander, Tavares, Morgan Riley. Where were you guys? because all of you vanished in the most important games. Like, we made it all the way to the Stanley Cup final, won game number 1, then allowed 5 goals, then 6 goals, then 7 goals, then 3 goals. Goaltending disappeared, defense disappeared, offense disappeared, everything about this team disappeared in the Stanley Cup final. No, like, this team made me smile a little bit. Mitch Marner, 34 points in the postseason. Austin Matthews, 29 points, including 19 goals. William Nylander, 22. Johnny T, 21. Morgan Riley even had 17 points in 22 games. You're telling me the core 5 showed up during the entirety of the postseason, and we lost in 5 games to the Winnipeg Jets? I don't know what to say, I really don't. The Winnipeg Jets beat my St. Louis Blues in the first round after scoring a goal with 1.6 seconds left, and ever since then, apparently they are the greatest team of all time in NHL 25. I'm sick and tired of seeing this team all the time. Winnipeg, if you guys keep performing like this, I'm gonna ban you from future videos. You gotta stop rubbing it in. I'm sick and tired of it. What'd I ever do to you?